Hey guys, what's going on? Have you ever been in a position in your life to where you felt like you were doing life all wrong? Have you ever been in a position to where it seemed like every day was the same old day in and day out? Well, in this video, I want to discuss how when I felt that way, what I began to do, and what I didn't realize someone had already did before me. So this is just one of the biblical principles that I want to point out that I applied to my life without even really understanding what I was doing. And within doing that, my life drastically improved. Um, and for a long time, I said I did it. I thought I did it. I thought I'm done what I need to do. No, it wasn't until maybe 4 years ago I realized that God had a hand and a plan for everything I was doing and had already done. So, with that being said, guys, that's what this video is about. This video is about how you can get out of a situation or get your if you feel like you're stuck and you haven't had a chance to do better and you're doing life all wrong. Hopefully this video helps. So with that being said, guys, please don't forget to continue to like, share, and subscribe, so the algorithm will pick us up and more people will hear about the word of God and how he can change our lives. So as followers of Christ, we don't give our lives to Christ so his life gets better. No, no, no. That's not how that works. We yield our life to Christ, and our lives are made whole and perfect through Him. That's how it works. So, anyway, let's get into it because you guys know I'll rant for at least 30, 40 minutes. So I don't want to rant, but we're going to start this video off in Genesis chapter 12, verse 1. And we all know him by the name God gave him, but his original name was Abram, and his name meant, if you look it up, in Hebrew it meant high father. Now Abram had no kids. Abram was 70 some years old with no kids, and all the people he knew around him, they knew him. Every time they called his name, it reminded him that he had no kids. His name meant high father. He had no children. So I can't imagine that was a good thing, a good feeling for him. So, and like I said, guys, it's just, anyway, I don't want to go too far. Let's get into it, and then we'll go from there. So we're reading in Genesis chapter 12, verse 1. The Lord said to Abram, "Go from the land of the familiar, your relatives and your father's house, to the land that I will show you. I will make you into a great nation. I will bless you. I will make your name great, and you will be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you. I will curse anyone who treats you with contempt, and all the peoples on earth will be blessed through you." Now, that right there is a mouthful right there. So, when I was struggling for most of my life, I didn't realize that the land of the familiar was holding me back. Things that I was comfortable with, which is we call it the comfort zone, aka the kill zone. My seventh grade summer school English teacher told me, She said, if you always do what you have always done, then you will always be where you have always been. So if you always stay around and in that comfortable environment that you know, you will always get the same results. You will always struggle. You will. That's why they call it generational curses or generational poverty. You will consistently do the same thing until you get to a point where you don't want to do it. What my grandma used to say, sick and tired of being sick and tired. So, anyway, so verse 1, God told Abram, hey, you got to roll. Get out away from around the people that know you, that grew up with you, that raised you. Get away from your relatives and your family and your friends. Get away and go to a land that I will show you, and I will make your name great. God told him to do something, and in that very next verse, so Abram went. Abram left. Or are you that compelled when God speaks to you? Do you move that quickly? I mean, the very next verse, Abram left. Abram knew that, and he trusted God. He knew that the land of the familiar was holding him back. So did I. And as we go through this story, like, familiar mindset also like blocks you from ideas, because I was in the land, I was around people that knew me and I grew up with and I was raised around, and I was comfortable. And then I had the same mindset, the familiar mindset I had, as a child in my in early 30s, late 20s, early 30s. And I wondered, like, what was outside of Memphis, and I'm using me for an example because I can only use my life. What's outside of Memphis, Tennessee? What's outside? What's a? And I think internally, I was searching for a place like Mayberry. Where is my Mayberry? And if for you guys who don't know, there's a TV show that I used to watch as a child, and I love till this day, the Andy Griffin Show. And this is the theme song. So if you see me out and about, or you've seen me, you more than likely heard me whistle this tune. That's the theme song to Andy Griffin Show. So that was Mayberry, where everybody was nice, polite, friendly, always helping, always doing this, Aunt B, and just it was a. I didn't grow up in that kind of environment, so that's watching TV as a young kid. That's what I wanted for myself. But when I was what age? I was maybe 20, 26, and my mindset started to shift. My son was born. And when that mindset, when my mindset started to shift, when I started to shift out of the familiar mindset, um, I started to grow. And what happened is, like, I used to think that knowing something was the pinnacle of actually doing it. And I didn't realize until I got older, until I got out of the land of the familiar, until I got out of my comfort zone, and into a land that God had shown me and what I felt like I needed to do. I moved to Florida, and I started to grow. And I realized that knowing something is easy, but learning something is hard, and most people choose to avoid it. Knowing something, and it takes no extra energy. Like, if I were to sit down and grab my controller to play a video game, I don't have to think. My body, my hands know the motions. I know whatever does what, I know it. But playing the guitar, playing a piano, learning a new skill takes energy. It takes a lot of energy. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked, but my point being was I started to grow. I started to do new things. I got out of the land of familiar like Abram did. Um, and I didn't realize, like, that when I was reading this, I was like, oh man, that's when I started to grow, when I got out of those familiar places. So, the first thing from Genesis chapter 12, verse 1, was Abram had he was stuck in the land of his familiar, a land of his family, a land of his friends and relatives. God said, no, no, no. That's a land of idolatry and idol worship. You need to get out of there. Go to a place where I will show you. So Abram did so. And me not understanding, I did so as well. And I wasn't even thinking about this at the time because I rarely picked up the Bible. Hey guys, sorry to interrupt you watching this outstanding video, but I would like to ask right now that if you have the heart and if you have the resources, that you donate to our ACER program, which is a step into reality, which is a program to where we go in these low-income areas and we teach young girls and boys how to manage money, how to set a budget, how to earn money, and what they do with the money when they get it. So our whole process is trying to make sure that the young men and women build good money habits as they grow instead of learning how to manage money through the world and it end up going broke trying to look fake rich. So if you have the heart, if God puts it on your heart, please go to our website, which is right here. And at the very top of our website page, there's a blue button. You can hit that donate button and it'll take you to the donation link and you can donate whatever God puts on your heart. So thank you guys so much for watching. And now back to this outstanding video. All right. So like I didn't pick up a Bible before that, but struggling in life and felt like I was doing life all wrong. If it wasn't for my mother and grandmother like praying for me growing up, like I would have had and forcing me to go to church, wouldn't have had a inkling of faith in what to do. So the first thing, just as a small piece of advice, is to get away from around those people who have known you. Get out of the land of the familiar. Get out of your comfort zone. Start to do different things that add value to your life. When I moved to Florida, I hung around different people with different cultures than myself. And that allowed me to see how I need to, what we call it now, code switching. And I couldn't speak and talk how I did when I was growing up in the hood. I couldn't act like that because it wasn't appropriate for the environment I was in at the time. Getting out of my comfort, I left Memphis, went to Florida, lived with my cousin. She let me live with her for a short period of time, and she let me stay with her almost rent free. Like that was a blessing within itself. I had to pay for little things, but I was got me a job and I was going through school, Northwest Florida State College for the police academy and then corrections. So I was going through like a lot of like life changes, but I had to get out, of the land of the familiar in order for me to grow. And if it was, that was the initial, like, nah, I wouldn't say that was the initial. That was a part of my growth process when God uh, put it on my heart to move to Florida. So let's finish with Abram. So Abram, so verse chapter, no, not chapter, um, verse 4. It says, so Abram went as the Lord had told him, and Lot went with him. Abram was 75 years old when he left Haran. He took his wife Sarai, his nephew Lot, all the possessions they had accumulated, and the people they had acquired in Haran, and they set out for the land of Canaan. So Abram had to tell his wife Sarai that, hey, we're leaving. We're going to a land that God will show me. And if I tell my wife right now, hey, we finna go somewhere, the first thing she gonna say is where we going. But if you're not married and you're not in a committed relationship, and if God tells you that he's going to bless your name and do these things, but you must first take the step and trusting Him, a leap of faith, if you will. Get out of the land of the familiar, because the first thing that holds us back is um, the being in the land of the familiar. The second thing that holds us back that I have is familiar mindsets are roadblock to new ideas. If you never think or do anything new, then you're going to consistently get the same results. That's how the world works. That's how God set it up. So when He, in the beginning of Genesis, told man to go forth, be fruitful, multiply, increase, trample down, subdue, He gave us dominion over this world. There's no such thing as laziness in God, in the kingdom of God. You cannot be a follower of Christ and say, well, I don't feel like working. I just want to relax all day, every day, Monday through Friday, and go to church and worship on Sunday. It's not how it works. So, familiar mindsets are roadblocks to new ideas. And we talked about that. And about knowing something, like about knowing a thing, like knowing something is easy, but learning something is extremely hard, learning something new. Um, for me, well, I wouldn't say hard. It burns a lot of energy, because I used to think speaking another language, it was so cool to see other people speak another language. I couldn't help but stare at them. And then my wife challenged me to learn a new language. On se fait un bouffe avec un petit pinard. I thought I thought it was hard, but it wasn't. It took a lot of energy. I had to switch over. My cell phone was in French. My video games were in French, like my books. You know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Like, I'm teaching my daughter, like I give my dog commands in French. I go, Arlo, viens ici, maintenant. Like, Arlo, come here now. But just, I don't know, man. It took a lot of energy, but I put that energy toward learning something new, and I learned something new. So that's kind of the same aspect, is the same amount of energy you try to put into doing the same thing, put that into learning something new, and and ask God to give you strength to accomplish that, and He will, because you're doing something that will help improve your life while you're here on this earth, and your family's life if you have kids. So, um, next talking point is, after familiar mindsets are a roadblock to new ideas, because places places we know keep us stuck in past perspectives. Ugh. That's true. That was true for me. When I got to Florida, I was just almost the same John, and it wasn't until being in Florida for a year, that first year, I started to change. Actually, 6 months, because 6 to 8 months, because school was a little different. I was around different people, and like I grew up in a predominantly all black area, and like I grew up in the hood, so I seen black people and I seen niggas everywhere, all day, all the time, and those are two distinct people, by the way. Um, but and I always saw my own people be low down to my own people. Like I always saw. I never seen white on black crime or violence. It wasn't until I was in my 20s or 30s where I seen what was I? I was at work. It was one of my correction officer co-workers was fighting a black inmate. That was the first time I saw that, like a a white on black, like any fist fight of violence. You know, I saw it on video games stuff, but seeing it in person, I always seen black people fight each other and steal from each other and rob each other and murder each other. I had always saw that all my life, because I was in this same little comfort space that I knew. So when I got to Florida, Destin, Florida, and it was a completely different environment, and I wasn't uncomfortable at all. I was excited. I got to be around new people, and different environment, different cultures, and that it wasn't even a culture shock. It just made my brain explode. I was like, all of these possibilities. Why? Where has it been? Where has all this been? But anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. But that was my little part of doing what God had called me to do, getting out of the land of the familiar, changing my mindset so I can grow with new ideas. And the idea of places will keep us stuck in past perspectives. Coming from the low income housing, government housing, like it kept me in a past perspective until I got out. When I got out and got away of that comfort, then I was like, oh crap, I can do this. I can do this. Like I didn't see angry people for no reason. I didn't see people murdering and robbing each other. And yes, it happened, but where I came from, it happened all day, almost every day. And it was everywhere. And the people I knew did it. So when I got out, my perspective changed on the world. And I literally felt like I transformed from what they got to say. I used to be I think I heard Thomas Sowell. It was somebody. I used to be a Marxist or a Democrat until I became a man, and then I became a Republican or conservative. But when I grew up, that those old places that I used to be in kept me in that same perspective and that mindset. And then when I left and changed, like my environment, then my mindset started to change. So a young woman said this to me the other. Well, she said young people, and then she said young people spend all their money on the things that they want and beg others for the things that they need. But I got to think, I was like, what's really young? Like, what do you mean by young people? And I wouldn't say just young people, people with a young mindset, because I know guys 40 years old, my age, that have the same mindset. They get paid, they spend every dollar and every dime trying to look fake rich. They trying to impress everybody around them, but they don't have 40 cents to their name by the end of the week. So you can't really just say young people from my experience. I say people with a young mindset spend all of their money on the things that they want and beg others for what they need. Um, and as a follower of Christ, my goal is to be a good steward and manager of what God has blessed me with. So not only did I had to do what Abram did, Abraham, I got out of the land of the familiar, got out of my father's house. I got out of that same mindset. I got into a new environment and I started to grow and do different things. And the next point of that is that doing all that, it's a start. But people we know keep us stuck in past performances because we'll do things that we normally wouldn't do on our own or by ourselves or for ourselves simply to keep someone we know happy. My mama Nam did this. My daddy Nam did this. Generational poverty can like it's called generational poverty because it flows over generations after generation. 3 generations of your family have been in poverty, and all of you have consistently spent all your money on lottery tickets and hoping to win big and doing this, and then you don't face it. So now your children grow up watching you do it, and then they do it, and it's a never-ending cycle. That's why it seems like a curse. I think if you call it a curse, it's a cop out because you can break it, but you have to. What I said in the beginning, you have to put forth the energy. It's a lot of energy to learn something new, learn new habits, to trust God. That's a faith by itself. But people we know can keep us stuck in past performances because we'll do a lot of things simply because our parents did it, or we've seen somebody else do it, or we do it because we want to honor Lil Pookie, Lil Ray Ray, Nam. We want to honor our favorite rapper. You need to honor your family. You need to do what's best for you. And if you're a follower of Christ, you, without a doubt, have to do what's best for your family. First Timothy chapter 5, verse 8 tells us that any man that does not provide for those in his household has denied the faith of Jesus Christ and is worse than a non-believer. Meaning, we must, as men, as husbands and fathers, we must take care of our children. We must financially provide for them. They need food, shelter, transportation, clothes, whatever. We need to do it. We have to. If we're called to be a follower of Christ, that's a part of uh, providing. Not getting caught up in what your friends used to do, not what you did back in the day, but getting out of your comfort zone. And for me, that looked like investing, buying a house, building my savings, building my emergency fund, doing those financial things that most of my family will not do. Most of my family won't do and refuse to do. And then when magically I'm not in poverty, I'm not struggling, I'm yielding my life to Christ, everybody goes, "Oh, well, you got lucky." Luck had nothing to do with it. I started to make better decisions. And that's not to say I didn't have problems. So before I realized that I needed to get out of the land of the familiar, I got locked up. I was arrested. I had speeding tickets, traffic tickets, fines. My license was suspended. I went through it all. I went through it all, and I realized I didn't want to keep doing the same old thing that I had been doing since I got out of high school, which was messing up. So just remember, like that last talking point, people we know will sometimes keep us stuck in past performances. Um, and the next one is people who know us keep us stuck in past practices. Sometimes we do things, like I said, simply to please people. And we can't do that. Being stuck in past performances, like, if you're living paycheck to paycheck, you're struggling. You are going to church on Sunday. You're trying to be a better person. You're trying to be a better follower of Christ, and you you're living paycheck to paycheck, and you're buying lottery tickets because your parents, your grandparents, your parents, they bought lottery tickets. All your cousins buy lottery tickets. You're wasting your money on lottery tickets. If you if if God can see, because He knows your heart, you can show me whatever. You can tell me whatever. You can put whatever in the comments. God knows our hearts, meaning you can put on the front like you're all well, everything's put together. But I know that, and God knows, He knows your heart. And we're human, so we struggle. Just because one area of our lives is better, that don't mean every area is better. Like, just my marriage, to me and my wife, like we talked about our marriage is perfect. It is outstanding. Yes, our marriage is perfect. I mentioned that to the woman at church. My marriage is perfect. Perfect. But it's my marriage. And they go, "Oh, well, every marriage got problems." Most do. Not every marriage. Most people have problems. All people have problems in different areas. Simple. Different areas. I may have a perfect marriage, but that marriage is meant for me and my wife. So someone else may get frustrated that um, she leaves her cup on the counter. That may frustrate someone who wants a clean sink. It don't frustrate me. Me and my wife's marriage is perfect. But on the outside of that, other things that we do is not perfect. Our marriage is perfect, but there's different areas in our lives that just we struggle with because we're human and we're trying to get better. But you have to understand that being a follower of Christ, trying to be a decent person, comes with struggle, comes with changes, getting out of the land of the familiar, getting away from the people you used to hang around, the things used to do. You have to cut it out. That's the only thing that's going to put you in a better position. But sorry, I got to rant about my marriage because I was thinking a woman had asked me like, "Y'all seem so happy." I'm like, we are. Anyway, I don't want to get down that rabbit hole. But my point being, guys, like you have to yield your life to Christ and ask Him to give you strength because where we're weak as human beings, He is strong. Jesus can give you the strength to do the thing that He had put you on this earth here to do. Simple as that. And these little tips that I wanted to read off, it was because I was struggling most of my life. I'm 39 years old and in a position where I can give actual positive, helpful feedback. And that's why I want to do this video. The first one is getting out of the land, get away from the people you know, get away from the people who think they know you. We think we know ourselves, but we're one of the main reasons we're held back. We think we know ourselves as well as we do, and we don't. We don't. We hold ourselves back. We blame others. Get out of the land of familiar. Get out of that familiar mindset because it does not. It's a roadblock to new ideas. Um, get away from your past performances. Stop doing the same things you used to do. Get away from. Stop doing those same practices that you've learned that was passed down from generation to generation. That's called a culture. You don't want to pick that kind of culture up where the cycle of poverty is passed down. You don't want to. So I hope this video helped you guys. I truly appreciate. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please put them in the comment section. Um, I just wanted to bring it to your attention because I struggled for a long time in my life and I didn't know where to go and how to go. But when I started to read the Bible these last 4 years, I was like, oh, Abraham yielded his life to Christ, did what God said. And he told him that I will make you into a great nation. I will bless you. This is what God told him. I will make your name great, and you will be a blessing, meaning a blessing to others. I will bless those who bless you, and I will curse anyone who treats you with contempt. And all the peoples on the earth will be blessed through you. Verse 4. So Abram went as the Lord had told him. He left. He got up and did it. And I'm not calling myself Abraham, but I'm as I read the Bible and study Scripture, I can see the pattern of my life and the things that were going wrong. 98% of that was John making bad decisions, me making poor decisions based off past practices, past performances, past people in my life, current people. I was making horrible decisions. And I'm not, I do believe in the maybe 1930s, 40s, 50s, there was a thing for systemic racism. I do believe that was a real thing back then. Now in 2025, and the knowledge that I've gained and wisdom over these last years, I don't think it's systemic racism. Now, I believe is systemic bad choices. I was a correction officer. Some of you guys know this, and I would see people consistently. I would see fathers come in, and then the children would come in to visit them in visitation. I worked in visitation, and then a year later, I see the son come in through intake. And there was one instance where this young man was like, "Hey, Officer Hiller, what dorm my dad in?" I was like, "Where you know me from?" He's like, "No, I came to visitation last year." So he came to visit his dad a year ago. And the next year, he was coming through intake to the same prison. And that one instance stuck out to me because I'm like, what if he would have chose to do something different? What if his dad wouldn't have been robbing and stealing, and he found out what his dad went to jail for, and he was in there for committing the same kind of crime, robbing and stealing. So it's a generational pattern that you have to choose to break. And like I said earlier, knowing something takes no energy at all. Knowing something is easy. Learning something new it's not so much as hard as in it takes more energy. When you use your brain more, it pulls more energy from the rest of your body. That's why when we use our head and our brains a lot at work or at school or doing something, we get drained. We're more tired because it pulls that energy. But if you get rest, you make sure you get something to eat and you stay focused and you ask God to give you strength to do the thing that he put you on this earth here to do in a way that pleases him and serves many of your fellow men as possible, he will grant you that. He will be your strength. He, man, anyway, I don't want to, he has done so much for me, to me and through me, and continues to do it. And it blows my mind every time. God, you still see me as worthy, even though I mess up, even though I fail, even though I get angry, even though I make mistakes. Jesus gives me another day to do it right. It gives me different opportunities to be better. So that's what I pray this video does. It helps some of you guys do better. This is not the end of this video. It's the end of this one now. But my goal is to do a follow-up. I have some more videos that I'm working on, but this one I just had to get off my chest because I couldn't believe that this book from 3,000 years ago was a part of my life. Well, is a part of my life. It's my world now. But it showed, I'm reading what Abram did. And I'm thinking to myself, I did the same thing. How is it? Anyway, I don't want to get too much further in it. But seek ye first the kingdom of God, and all else will be added unto you. You must know this, guys. We cannot do it without God. If you are a non-believer, if you are a new believer, if you're new in your faith journey, pray that God gives you strength and opens your eyes to the world. When we pray, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done. We want the kingdom of heaven to be brought down here on earth to us. By the grace of God, he has given me one thing that most of you on YouTube and TikTok don't have. Would you like to know what that is? He has given me enough. I have simply enough. Someone to my left has less. Someone to my right has more. I have enough. My faith, my family, my friendships, my finance, and my fitness. Those are only 5 I focus on. Those are only 5 that I need. And not necessarily in that order, but all those 5 that's enough. That's enough for me. And you couldn't have caught me 5 years ago talking like this. 6, 10 years ago, I wouldn't have talked like this. I always thought there was more and more and more I wanted, more I needed. No. When I've yielded my life to Christ, he is all I need. He knows what I need before I even need it. So, I love you guys. I hope this video helped. Please leave your comments and concerns in the comment section. Have a blessed night. Be safe. Au revoir. À bientôt. À la prochaine.